It is said that in every city there is one man who sells nothing and buys nothing, yet fixes what cannot be seen. People say he doesn't repair clocks, he repairs time itself. Every morning he opens his small old shop, sits quietly before a pile of broken watches, and begins to mend time, one tick at a time. No one knew his name or his age, but everyone who entered his shop swore that, in his presence, time seemed to stop, and then begin again. His name was Salim, a calm old man, whose face carried the lines of someone who had seen more than he had spoken. He had lived alone in that tiny shop for 40 years. On the wall hung a large clock that had never worked. He had never tried to fix it. Once, someone asked him, "How can you fix all these clocks and leave yours broken?" He smiled and said, "Some things must remain broken, so we don't break ourselves trying to fix them." No one understood what he meant, but he did, perfectly. One cold evening, a young man in his late 20s entered the shop. His face was tired, heavy with the weight of days gone wrong. He said softly, "Sir, I don't want to fix the clocks. I want to fix my time." Salim looked at him for a long moment, then replied, "Time cannot be fixed, my son, but the one who lives inside it can change." The young man sat and began to speak, of years wasted waiting for the right moment, of how he had lived chasing tomorrows that never came, and how he feared time itself more than failure or poverty. Salim listened in silence, then said, "Come here every day, 1 hour only, not to talk, but to fix these clocks with me." The young man didn't understand, but he agreed. On the first day, Salim taught him to listen, really listen, to the sound of the ticking. He said, "Every clock has a heartbeat. If you cannot hear it, you cannot understand it. And if you cannot understand it, you will never fix it." Days passed, and the young man worked beside him quietly until he began to hear something else, the sound of his own thoughts slowing down. After 2 weeks, Salim said, "You see? You were never listening to time, you were running away from it." The young man smiled shyly and said, "I fixed my first clock." Salim replied, "No, you fixed your first minute within yourself." Then one day something strange happened. All the clocks in the shop stopped, at once. The young man panicked. "What happened? Did they all break again?" Salim said calmly, "No, they're waiting for your decision." "My decision?" "Yes. You're standing now between a past that won't return and a future not yet written. Will you keep fixing what's gone, or will you start from where you are?" The young man fell silent for a long time, then whispered, "I'll start from now." At that very moment, all the clocks began to tick again, together, as if celebrating his choice. Months passed and the young man changed. He became calmer, more aware. He stopped waiting for the world to improve and started improving himself instead. One morning, he came to say goodbye. "Master Salim," he said, "you've taught me how to fix time." Salim smiled gently and replied, "No, my son, I taught you that time was never broken. We are the ones who break when we stop living inside it." He handed the young man an old silent clock and said, "Take it. It doesn't work, and it never will. But let it remind you that the most beautiful moments are the ones we live without counting the minutes." Years passed again. The young man grew older, became a teacher, opened a new little shop. On the wall he hung a large clock, motionless. One of his students once asked, "Sir, why don't you fix that clock?" He smiled and said, "Some things must stay broken, so we don't break ourselves trying to fix them." And perhaps you are like that young man today, trying to repair the time you've lost, regretting what you didn't do or fearing what's yet to come. But remember this, time waits for no one, yet it listens to those who truly love it. When you begin to listen, really listen, and start from this very moment, you'll realize that nothing you lost was ever wasted. It was only preparing you to be present. So begin now. Fix what's left of you before you try to fix what's gone from you. Because time is not measured by clocks, but by what happens between 2 ticks.